Hello, hello. This is Voorhees Tiger Vision, and I'm your host, Mondre Allen. I'm here with the coach, head coach, head men's basketball coach, Coach Cabral Huff. Coach, how you doing? How you feeling?
Lose a tough one on the road, get back late, got to get ready for the next one. Don't have time to dwell on it other than watch film, see what you can do to get better, and move on from it.
For sure. I was already thinking about the conversation that we were going to have while the game was going on. And last night's game certainly didn't end the way that you or I wanted it to, but a lot of things to look up for, a lot of things to be happy about, a lot of things to be excited about on the horizon. I think, you and I both probably understand there aren't necessarily no moral victories, but a lot of good that could be taken away, I'm sure, from last night.
Exactly, man. I told my guys I hate losing more than I like winning. But I also understand it's a process. It's a process. Sure. And I have to remember that before that game, we only had 13 days of practice. That on January 4th was the first time a group of guys got together to be a team, to play a season, a condensed schedule in a season. We were missing 3 guys that would be integral into what we were trying to do. And Dalton State is a great program. I don't want to take anything away from them. Coached by a great coach, and they won 30 games last year, so they have a repertoire. They have a kind of a tradition of winning, and it was an important night for them to try to win. They had a little extra emotion behind them because of the death of former Dalton State coach, Coach Engel, who used to coach there. And, I'm pretty sure that played into the emotion that they played with. But we didn't back down from it, not one bit.
For sure. And we're going to get into all of our thoughts on last night's game. We'll get into that here, so stay tuned. We'll talk about all the ins and outs of the games, who played well and what that was like, and the atmosphere I felt like was great. And maybe give people some hints on how they could go back and maybe watch the game as well. So we'll talk about that tough, kind of heartbreaking loss right there at the end, but we'll get into all the details here in a minute. But today, a special day in and of itself. We have the inauguration of a newly minted president and vice president. This one specifically special for multiple reasons. The first vice president of color, and also the first HBCU grad in the Oval Office. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, Coach. Just get an opening statement from you on just the inauguration of a new president and VP itself, and then talking about what it means to have an HBCU grad in the Oval Office.
I just hope with the inauguration of our 46th president, Joe Biden, and our vice president, that we can now move towards love and togetherness, and move forth with what we want this nation to become. Having a HBCU grad in that Oval Office is tremendous, because what it says that I think a lot of people have gotten away from is that you can go anywhere from an HBCU. And I think for some reason that has kind of been misconstrued, that if you graduate from an HBCU, you can't do these things, or you can't get this kind of job, or you can't get to this highest level. And that's certainly not true. Here I am as an HBCU grad of Morehouse College. Here I am as a head coach of an HBCU. And I'm here to tell you, no matter what HBCU you go to, you can do anything once you graduate from there. And we've got to understand that most of our HBCUs were founded and placed in places that aren't the same as PWIs. And what I mean by that, lots of either urban areas or lots of rural areas, no in between. And that puts a strain on how people view them. Do you want to go to a very rural area to go to school, or do you want to go to a very urban area? And what I mean by urban, a lot of times you're in the inner city to go to a school, HBCU. And in retrospect, that should have no, I shouldn't say it should have no bearing, but you shouldn't use it as a deterrent of why you can't become who you can become at a HBCU.
100%. It was, and I think this is appropriate, not to take away from or compare sports to something as prestigious as being um, in that Oval Office, or doing the work that comes along with that. But there was a lot of conversation around this HBCU topic and what it means to the community in regards to athletics.
Mm.
So, wanted to get your take. This is not your first stint
Right.
being coaching at a HBCU at the college level. So, can do just a quick comparison to recruiting then, and how you were perceived as in that HBCU world, and recruiting now, and being a part of a HBCU. Do you feel like we've made any progress? And if so, how do you evaluate some of the progress that may have been made?
I think we have. I think, through the unfortunate events that have went on this or last summer now in 2020, and kind of even before those events happened, you now have kids that want to go to a HBCU. And I think before, when I was at a previous HBCU, Alcorn State, we had to sell them on going to a HBCU. Now we don't have to sell them as much. We've got recruits that was part of the reason why they either want to go here or committed to us, or why we have a great shot at getting them, because they want to go to a HBCU. They understand there are things that you can get here. And one of the things that we really push about Voorhees is family, not just on the basketball team, but the family atmosphere of our whole college. You've got people here from our cafeteria to our dean of students to our athletic director, Ms. Charlene Johnson, who they call Mama. Like, they're going to take care of you. They're going to take care of your son or your daughter if you go here, and make sure that they're doing the right things, that they're going to get through these doors. They're going to learn, they're going to become better people, and they're going to graduate. And I think a lot of times people do not want to get caught up in numbers. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to just be a student ID number when I go to a college or university. And that's big, because at most HBCUs, if not all, you won't be that. Your professor will know your name. The dean of students will know your name. People around campus will know who you are. My best friends right now are guys I stayed with in my freshman dorm, my freshman year at Morehouse College. And I think that says a lot.
For sure. I love that we were having that conversation. And not just, I felt like this summer during COVID, the spring and the summer during COVID, we weren't just having it just to have it. I feel like it wasn't, we've had this conversation before, right? Like this year wasn't the first year that we've done this, but I feel like it was different this year, that it was more meaningful. People were asking really meaningful questions and trying to understand the experience and maybe some of the roadblocks, because you've also coached at PWIs as well at the college level. And there are some differences, right? Especially in terms of athletics. Talk a little bit about, the road ahead, and, some of the things that we have to continue to do to maybe see some of our HBCUs vault themselves into that perception of being primetime or mainstream. Because there are a lot of HBCUs that are winning like primetime programs already. But that perception of what are some of the steps ahead that we can change that perception?
I'll just take today as an example. We can't just use historic moments or monumental moments to represent our HBCU. Like, we just can't say, oh, Howard University is on the map today because the VP graduated from Howard. Well, they need more than just this monumental moment. They need your support every year. And the more we can do that with HBCUs, the more we can buy in and not just come on homecoming, but really buy into giving back to our HBCUs in all aspects, not just athletics, but all aspects, that can make change. That can create change at that HBCU. Well, now when that kid goes on a visit, per se, to Voorhees versus somewhere else, they have a great comparison to say, there's not much difference in what I'm seeing. Especially when you get to the Division I level and they go on that visit at a HBCU versus a visit at, let's say a mid-major or a low major, there may be a big difference in, the facilities, or maybe a big difference even in, how they get there because of the budgets. And I think with HBCUs, instead of us relying on money games or guarantee games all the time to help boost our athletic programs or each particular athletic program, let's get our alumni back involved. Let's really get involved. And I think I made this comment maybe in one of our first or second shows that if you as an alumni gave $20 a month and you got one person did it and two people did it and three people did it, that can change an athletic program, because now you can flip the locker room. You can flip the weight room. You can flip what the floor on the gym looks like. You can flip a scoreboard. I think about my time at Alcorn State, and if you go down there right now, that big scoreboard, video board they have for football wasn't there when I first got there, but it was there right when I was leaving. Well, that changes the atmosphere when you're bringing a kid down there for a visit. Changes it big time.
For sure.
And now, if you can now do that, where a kid sees that I can get the same amenities that I can get at a PWI, well, now you can flip the script and get a kid that someone else says you're not supposed to get. Because you know me, Mondre, I'm all in. I'm gonna get the kids I'm not supposed to get anyway, and I'm just gonna do it off relationships. But I think that's really big.
Watching you guys play, I feel like you already have some kids that you weren't supposed to get, and you definitely have some more coming. And we'll talk about some of the commitments. You definitely have some more coming that people would say that you weren't supposed to get. But I agree. I think getting that buy-in from the alumni base, of course, finances comes down to a lot of it, right? But I just want people to understand that if you pay attention, there are some programs that you can get behind. Whether you went to the school or not, there are some programs that are winning programs traditionally at all levels that you can get behind. We, of course, talked about you guys.
That's all you talk about, Mondre. They can get behind. They can get behind our program. We won enough.
For sure.
Get behind. On the women and men's side, track and field. We won. So get behind Voorhees.
A lot of winning has happened, and maybe people just don't understand that, Huff. Like, people are understanding the expectation of winning with you being there, but there's a lot of winning tradition in multiple sports at Voorhees already. Even with the men's basketball program has won 19-win, 20-win season last year. Like, it's not like you guys were rolling over, or in any of these sports.
Winning the conference 2 years ago, 24 wins. Going to the NAIA tournament, when we bring kids that have been able to come on a visit and they see those championships, I mean, we've got a room full of them that we can't even put in a case, and they see that says something. That rings a bell with them. That, man, there's tradition here, and we use that tradition to help us recruit, no doubt about it.
Setting the expectation for sure. I think hearing that clip from you today of, hey, we're running our program like it's North Carolina, like it's a Kentucky. And part of that comes from not just you saying that or having that part of or working kids like it's that, but like you said, telling kids, hey, there's an expectation to win here. Yeah. Like, there's already that expectation. We're going to the next level now. Like, there's already an expectation to win.
I remember, and we'll get to it, but we had a recruit that came on campus to visit once we got back live. And I remember they were watching practice, and our guys kind of said, especially guys that were here previously, said, so they came all the way from Texas? Yeah, they did. And it's not after the season. This is during the season that, Yeah, they are. This is who we are. This is what we're about. You know, you talk about what North Carolina or any D1 program, even D2, that's what they do. They don't wait after the season to go recruit. They're recruiting throughout the season. And that's what we've been doing here at Voorhees and we'll continue to do.
100%. I can't wait until you can have your I don't want to rush you through the season. Okay, before I say this, I don't want to rush you through the season. But that time in the summer, one of the other things that every great programs do is those open gyms in the summer when you get to invite people and those open runs and the players get to play with past players and current players and other guys that maybe you've coached. They may end up with a couple of NBA guys in the gym in the summer working out, or I think that's a huge thing or huge building block that can happen there, and looking forward to hearing some of those stories that go on because it happens at every great program.
And you've got to realize, I kind of talked about our team not getting together January 4th, but you got to realize that these guys didn't have that summer. No, none of these guys to be on campus or to get together to do those things. So part of the thing, though, we're hopeful, we're praying that COVID can subside and we can get back to normalcy where we can have those things that happen in the summertime where, man, you can have some great runs.
Listen, if Adam Flagler comes to Denmark, South Carolina, listen, I need a phone call because I need to have my camera ready.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know everybody wants to see Kobe and Malik, as I would too. But if Adam Flagler walks in that gym this summer, I need an invite.
Hey, you think Adam Flagler would have had fun playing last night?
Oh my goodness, he would fit right in with this group. He's gonna fit right in. It was almost like a flashback. Like, wow, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Like. I wanted to tell Stat, like, you're not the first person to do this with him.
It's funny. He came into the office today and he said, I knew I was feeling good when I shot and hit that three on the break. I said, Stat, you're open, right? I said, the best threes to take are transition threes if you can make them. And you've proven you can make them, so why not take them?
For sure. That's my guy. I have a couple of guys on your team that I really, really like, but one of them is Stat. That's my guy. Stat got to know that I'll be yelling the entire game and talking to him the whole game, but that's my guy. Let's see. We're gonna go to let's go ahead and talk about last night's game since we're there. I'll put up. We have a nice recap here. This is wonderful. Let's get into last night's game. So we get a 2 points going the other way, 77-75. Up and down game the entire time. I know you don't want to talk about the officiating. I'll say that, fair, but some things were questionable. I won't put you out there like that. That's coming from Andre.
All you'll say is you're playing on the road. So expect that anytime you play on the road. I told my guys that. Yes,
because the foul that Stat fouled out on, I was losing my mind. I'm losing my mind that is what you call for his fifth foul. I completely lost it. I thought I was about to get a technical, but I tried to hold it together. But a great game at the end of the day. A fantastic game. I should have tracked lead changes in this game because it was so back and forth. But specifically late in the game, we were able to pull away.
Yeah.
And look like we were going to come away with it, and things didn't kind of go our way. But I'll toss it up to you, Coach, to kind of let's recap the game and kind of talk through what we saw.
I think it was a great test for us going on the road. to a team, like I said, that won 30 games last year, that's well coached. And the first half, we had some lapses, especially execution wise. But we went into the locker room and we were like, we haven't executed at all. We haven't rebounded at all, and we were only down 38-36, I think, at half. And then the second half, we finally started doing some things defensively that we really wanted to do. We got 3 stops in a row, which we called kills, and we were starting to make runs. And a lot of it happened after the 9:38 mark. We got down 12 at 9:38, and we called a timeout. And after that, we came out 9 straight points, as Coach Ireland quickly reminded me at the end of the game, like, man, we thought we had the game when we went up 12, and y'all came back with 9 straight points, and we were on a roller coaster from that point on. And we were able to put some pressure on them and make them, handle the ball versus our traps, and got some great things out of it. But I think our guys really, they left it on the court, man. There was nothing about, as much as you want to win every game, there was nothing about their effort or their energy that you could be upset with or playing together. You look at some of those stats that you put up on the screen. We were able to force 22 turnovers with 10 steals. We had 18 assists. We made 15 threes. Obviously, Terrell Wyndham had 21 points. He made 7 threes, and Stat had 15 and made 5. But again, the things that we've got to improve on, we got to improve on rebounding. Hector Rosario led us in rebounding. He had 11 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. But a lot of people don't know we were a little shorthanded last night. And I think, there's never an excuse in my repertoire why we weren't going to win the game. But I do think that having any one of those players could have gave us, a little bit more height versus a great player, Markel Wiggins, number 23 for them, who was able to do some amazing things around the rim, and some of their other bigs as well.
They were extremely well coached, well prepared. Coach Ireland made some tremendous adjustments down the stretch, especially defensively, and those guys were also very, very good. Right. They had another powerful, I can't remember his name, but I think he was a 4-man pick and pop, and he was able to shoot it. And the point guard was very good, extremely athletic as well. So want to, give those guys their props and give hats off to Dalton State. We're a very good team.
Definitely, man. I mean, Coach Allen, the biggest adjustment he made, and we'll talk about Coach Allen and I's relationship, and he talked about it to me afterwards. But I go back to, we haven't practiced but 13 times.
Yep.
In those practices, you're working on a lot of man stuff. There's no doubt about it. Think about this. 13 practices, if we were starting when we normally start, would have been in October. And what happens is that you don't get as much time versus zone. And he went zone when we went up 5 with about 3 minutes, 2:30 left in the game. And I told my guys, there's nothing I want. My guys heard this from me last night, so I'm not saying anything that they're going to hear first on the show. But I think we played, instead of to win, we kind of played not to lose. James, my bad, man. You got enough stuff to do. Don't worry about a graphic, James. But we played not to lose versus the zone instead of playing to win. And yet, even, 30 seconds, Bryce gets 3 straight offensive rebounds, man. And, he'll learn from that experience, and he already has. And, we just go and we learn from the mistakes that we made to be better.
Tremendous effort by that kid down the stretch.
Yeah.
Getting on the glass, which was a pain point the entire game, and he just about was able to seal it.
Yep.
With that effort. His effort, Hector Rosario's effort on the glass. He made a big rebound and then kicked it out, and we got a 3. Amazing effort by those guys down the stretch of that game.
No
Coach, I wonder, as I was watching the game, and I started to wonder this, midway through the first half, I felt like they were I felt like they were playing off of adrenaline for the first part of the first half, and then about midway through the first half or late in the first half, it seemed like, okay, the adrenaline is gone. Do we have to remember that too? Some of these guys are still getting in that peak shape that they'll need to be in to complete the season because of such, not coming in till January 4th. They haven't even been on campus for a month yet.
Like I said, we talked about it last show. Some of these guys, that was their first game last week in almost a year for some of them. And then taken to this point. So we played South Carolina Faith last week, and we only had 8 guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of those guys didn't play this game because they were out, and we had 3 guys who didn't play the South Carolina Faith game that played this game. So it goes back to your adrenaline part. Like, you've got guys who this was their first game wearing that Voorhees uniform, and you're not playing against a slouch.
First game out, and you've got to play Dalton State.
Right.
For people that don't understand, it's like first game out, and yeah, no biggie, go play North Carolina.
Right.
Yeah. So, but man, I was so happy, Coach, with the fight in your team, and that it came a time in the game where you really had to get after them.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you bring something out of them that wasn't there. After you jumped on them a little bit, I saw the body language on the bench improve, the communication improve. It's almost like they remembered who they were a little bit. Can you talk about that moment with the team?
We just talked about what were we here for. We didn't come here just to show up and let Dalton State have a victory and we walk out the door. And I just basically, I challenged them. I challenged them, what kind of team do we want to be? And although it was our first true game, this game is a process of where we're trying to go to the end of the season. And we don't have an opportunity to roll over. That's not what Voorhees Tigers are about. We don't do that at the Hees. We don't roll over. We fight. And those guys fought. And I think that message had to be told to them just to make it click. Because again, we've got some guys, your Bowies and your Stats and your Bryces and your Terrells who've been here. But we got guys who are putting on this uniform for the very first time. But they've got to understand what this V, like I've got on my chest, what that means when you're walking around with it. Like, it's important. It means a lot to a lot of people. And every time you step on the floor, you got to leave it on the floor. So I just had to reiterate that point to him. And then, also about some little things we weren't doing on the court, whether it was execution, making the right pass, making the extra pass, getting stops, digging in, defending, rebounding. Second half, our rebounding was totally better. We still got out-rebounded over the whole night, but I think our rebounding was really good. And I want to make sure Ezekiel Williamson-Bay, man, a freshman, he was a catalyst after that timeout, defensively especially.
I like him a lot.
Defensively.
Yeah.
He made them work. He made him and Rex. We had bench guys a lot that was in at that time.
Yep. You normally have guys on your team that I really like, going all the way back to high school, right? I always tell you who my favorites are.
Right.
I know as a coach you can't pick favorites. I'm a fan. I pick favorites. Just guys that jump off the screen at me or jump out to me and say, regardless of numbers, right? This is a guy I would want on my side. And, in the dark, like they say, in a dark alley, who do you want to go down that dark alley with? There are some guys that I would want with me. Rosario has been my guy for a long time. Right? I really like Stat. I really love Tyron Bowie. And I feel like his last name is just perfect for who he is. I feel like when the water gets rough, he is able to just ride and just steady the ship and keep everything going right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I really love his game, and I like Zeke a lot too. Just a tremendous, and I see, even though he did play really well, I see him being capable of so much more, especially defensively, just able to control a game
Yep.
without scoring the ball so much. And not everybody can do that. Not everybody can control a game or take somebody completely out of a game. And I feel like he has the capability to do that.
He does, man. We feel he's going to be special. You know, we've got some freshmen, him, Zach White, Mikael Murray, that we think going to have some special times down here in Denmark, South Carolina. And Zeke has really done a great job of doing just that defensively. And he has great vision. Like, he made a couple of passes last night, you know, driving and being able to see an open man that a lot of freshmen can't make.
Yep.
And those were two of the things that really sold us on why he's supposed to be a Tiger and why he is a Tiger. So we've got a good group, and I'm going to take something. You know, Coach O was on the show 2 shows ago, and Coach O is a military vet, and he told our guys this in the locker room last night. He said, "This group that we have, I will go to war with any day." And for a vet to say that, somebody who's actually been in war, like, that says a lot.
I agree. I found myself, Coach, showing up to this game. It felt like I was on the bench. So I did a lot of thinking and soul searching on the way home after this game, and it hit me. And I just want to know what you thought. I said, man, it may be a good thing that we didn't win, because maybe they would think that where we're going was easy.
Yep.
And they have to know that where we're going is not easy, and not everybody gets to go.
You have to go through adversity to get to the finish line, to get where you're trying to go.
For sure.
And I think yesterday is some adversity we needed to understand that. You know, I think now they understand why 40 minutes you got to be locked in. I think now they got to understand why every rebound matters. I think they understand, you know, just a little, like, the game comes down to little things.
Yes.
Little things that you have to make sure you take advantage of. And, you know, there were some things that they said, Coach, we need to do this, this, and this. This is what we got to do in practice tomorrow.
I love it.
Who am I to not say I'm not going to listen to my players? Like, all right, then this is what we're going to do. You know, we're in a – COVID has done, like I told you, it's a season of adaptability and flexibility. So we're in a stretch of 5 games in 10 days if you count last night. So, you know, this is a lot of mental time that we're going to have in the days in between each game, you know. And we've just got to be locked in and get ready for each game, prepare for each opponent, get ourselves better each time, and go out there and compete the way we know we can.
I agree, Coach. Those guys were, and I love that they are so engaged. You could see it.
Yeah.
And when the communication looked to be, and again, I'm standing 100 feet away, right, or wherever from the stadium, right? But they look so much better when the communication with each other looked to be so much more positive.
Mm-hmm.
Scoreboard, regardless of the score, when the communication was positive, when it was pats on the back, when it was come on, let's go, they played so much better than when it got quiet. Mm-hmm. So I love what this team has the capability of being moving forward. Is like the sky's the limit. As Michael Jordan would say, the ceiling is the roof. I can't wait to see it, Coach. I'm really looking forward to it. Do we want to talk about any other individual players? Anything else that we want to call out before we move on? Because it's interesting. I want to get to the relationship with you and Coach Ireland. That's going to be really interesting.
I think everybody played a part. Even though we lost, everybody had an integral part, and I think the best thing about this team, it can be anybody on any given night.
For sure.
I think that's what really will help us win games. And I also think when you think about teams, everybody always thinks about scores, but you got to have other guys that do other things, like we talked about with Ezekiel, and once we continue to mold that, then like you said, the ceiling is the roof.
I agree. It was tough watching last night's game. Having talked to multiple times with Coach Ireland and know just how good of a guy he is.
Yep.
to even think about cheering against one of his teams is hard to do. But I imagine for you, knowing him a lot better even than I do, that coaching against him or competing against him in that way is tough. Let's talk about that relationship between you and Coach Ireland as well.
Man, that's my brother, man. We go back to his days as an assistant at Valdosta State, and he was coming in to St. Francis to recruit Josh Coleman. And I remember he tells me this after the fact. He says, and he didn't know me at that time. He says, Coach, when I called you about Josh Coleman, I thought you were going to big time me because, he had some Division I offers, and you open up your doors, you open up your office, you sat down and talked to me and even told me, this is what you got to do if you want to try to get him. And that's where our relationship started from that point. Little did I know that 2 years later, we were going to be on the same staff at Alcorn State. And that's really where our relationship really grew, because there were a lot of times we were on the road. We drove to your hometown, Louisville, Kentucky, when they moved the AAU Nationals there. That's like an 11-hour drive. One time we drove from Lauren, Mississippi. We stopped in Atlanta to sleep the night, then drove to Charlotte, North Carolina the next morning to go recruit. We lived together for a minute when we were in Alcorn State. So that relationship has been huge. When he got the Dalton State job after Coach Engel retired, I was so happy for him. Been happy for him. The only time I haven't been happy for him was last night. But, that's my guy, man. I love him. He's been doing great things everywhere he's been, and Dalton State's nothing new.
For sure. Yeah, you really know a guy after you spend 11 hours in a car with him. You know him to another level.
Hey, I know, like when I look at his team, I go in my mind, I go, yep, those are exactly kind of guys we talked about. He's got some Europeans on his team that can step out and shoot it. He likes shooters too. He's got the athletic big. He's got the pass first point guard. He's got things that I definitely see from he and I being recruiting together and what he liked, and he obviously knows what I like, and that's what made the matchup so fun.
So sound on defense.
Yep.
As well. Like they just took away driving lanes. Like
they were so use their length once they took it away, like to wall up.
Mm-hmm. They were great. I learned a lot watching that game. Learned a lot watching you guys go at it. So that was great. And sorry, Coach Ireland, I cheered so hard against your team last night, but we're still good. I sent him a text message after the game last night. So let's look forward, Coach. We've got to keep moving. As you said, we've got a schedule to continue to play out, and it doesn't get any easier.
It does
with Edward Waters tomorrow, Talladega on the 23rd, Edward Waters again at home on the 25th. It's not getting any easier, Coach. Let's talk about some of these matchups.
Oh, man, we Dalton State basically prepared us for the next couple of matchups that we're having, going against that length, going against some athleticism with Edward Waters. And again, we're going against teams that have been playing definitely more games than we have. And so that's another challenge in itself, but we're ready for the challenge. Coach Summers at Edward Waters does a great job. Coach Wright at Talladega was just named, I want to say Coach of the Year, but Hoop Dirt gave him an award about how great a coach he was. So going to get some great coaches as well with great teams that not only would we have to see right now, but we would have to see somewhere down the road, knock on wood, once that NAIA tournament shows up. So it's a challenge for us, but we always are ready to accept challenges.
For sure. Locke always trying to get the inside scoop on the gear.
I know he is, man. He is.
Huff, Locke, you gotta go to the student center and go buy and go buy that. Coach, that road bend that you have, and I'll bring the schedule back up, and I won't go all the way down to the away games, but just a couple: Talladega, Edward Waters, Allen, Carolina, back to back to back to back. What is it going to take for the guys to get through that? And this could be one of those moments where the team really comes together even more on the road. If you could talk about that a little bit.
It's just being mentally locked in. I think we're going to do our best as a staff to make sure that physically they're ready to go, and how we manage their time on and off the floor. But mentally, a lot of it's going to be mental right now. And I do believe if we can ramp up our execution just a little bit better, then we got a shot. We got a shot to do some great things, even beginning this road trip that we're going to have, or beginning Thursday, to be honest. Even that's a home game, but starting Thursday, and then as we continue to go on this road trip. But I'm a coach, Mondre, so all I'm worried about is tomorrow. I can't even think about Talladega yet. And yes, Corey, Talladega has a great new gym. It's nice.
For sure. I agree. I think it's going to be a mental test, a great test for the guys. We always used to say when you were coaching, even in high school, where it was like, hey, you go out of town. You go on the road, it just does something, for your team, for guys, for chemistry and that sort of thing. So definitely a very tough test for those guys. You'll get to pull out that beautiful bus that I saw out there at Dalton State.
Hey, it's funny because Coach Allen did say, he said, man, I would love to have a bus like that.
It was nice. So I pulled up and I had to park close to it and send some guys pictures of the bus. Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm at the game here. But no, you'll be able to take that thing out and hopefully those guys enjoy that trip and we come home with some wins on the road. That would be huge. Yeah. So, Coach, this is a time of the show that is always a lot of fun. We get to talk about some of the committed players, and we'll talk about one newly minted Voorhees Tiger that just recently committed. That you had, I believe he came up for a visit as well.
He did.
Let's pop some of these names up on the screen, and I'll let you talk about some of these kids that committed.
This is my first commit when we got here. Christian Ford, East Paulding High School. He's had some triple doubles this year. Where he scored 20. He's had 14 rebounds, 10 assists. He does everything for his high school team. 6'4" guard that can shoot it, is athletic. Really excited about getting him on board. And like I said, he was the first guy that believed in the vision we had here, that said he wanted to come. So that's Christian Ford from Georgia that we're getting. Then we get a hometown guy. And when I mean hometown, it's not Denmark, but he's right down the road in Bamberg, Jacoby Crosby. He's got family that has graduated from Voorhees. He's a guy that if you go look up on a lot of the rankings in South Carolina, he's on there. Left-handed kid that can play some wing, can play some forward for us. At 6'4", 6'5", athletic, that really knows how to get rebounds, especially on the offensive end. Scores very well around the basket. We're excited that he chose to stay home, to be honest with you. A lot of times it's tough to get kids to stay close to home. And we were able to get him to stay close to home. So happy about Jacoby Crosby coming on board. And then Keyshawn Fleeton out of Columbus, Georgia, 6'3" combo guard who will rise up and dunk on you, but also can shoot your lights out. Plays for a great coach who knows how to get them prepared at the next level. Corey Black, who's coached at the collegiate level, does JUCO things. So Keyshawn's ready to go. Is just a great young man, just like all our guys are, to be honest with you. But he's ready to go. And I think when you talk about Keyshawn and Christian and also Jacoby, they give us some flexibility. Guys who can play multiple positions, guys who can shoot the basketball, guys who are tough, guys who are versatile. And those are definitely things that we want to have in our recruitment with guys that we're trying to bring down here to Voorhees. And then, obviously, this is the one that just committed to us late Sunday night, Monday morning. Trey Frazier from Texas. We went outside our little, kind of like our triangle, as I speak, and got one. Some people will say we stole one. Whatever way you want to call it, we got one that we really are excited about. A 6'5" athletic. And when I say athletic, I do mean athletic. Guy that can score the basketball, can shoot it. We were saying the other day that he's got a chance to kind of be what that is for us, to play some 3, to play some 4 for us, and we're extremely excited about him coming on board. And I think you're going to show some highlights, and guys are going to see, our people are going to see exactly why we're so excited about him.
We do have some highlights here, Coach, and they are pretty good. A lot of fun.
I mean, you'll see the kid at 6'5" is very fluid in shooting the basketball, but I told you he was athletic, and you're going to see a lot of that in some of these clips. But you see how well he shoots the basketball as well. But I think our fans are going to be happy when they see stuff like that, how he finishes around the rim, and just a great kid. I mean, I remember when I got the call that he said he was coming. I think I was getting a haircut. I think I might have jumped up and made the guy mess my line up.
It's definitely somebody. I wouldn't even want to watch his highlights while I was getting the edge up, because these finishes, and it looks like not only is he getting up high, he's getting off the ground quickly.
Yes.
And effortlessly. But you love guys that can shoot.
Oh, so if you didn't know that, you should have knew it last night. You know, we made 15 threes, and even like you said, the previous game, some that we didn't make, we thought were going in. But, you know, definitely him and his family, great family. They came on a visit. You know, and I tell everybody, these kids that we've gotten, even amidst the COVID, have come on visits. So they've gotten, you know, some have gotten to see before we start practice. But Trey, I think part of the reason of what sold him not only was the family that we have and the atmosphere, but he saw us compete in practice. He saw us get after it, he and his family. And I think that's what sold him, because he saw a chance of how he could get better even from where he is right now, and how well his teammates are going to get after him those whatever minutes of time that we're on the floor in practice, but they're also going to be his guys when they step off the floor. So I think that was huge.
For sure. As we watch the young fella make plays on offense and defense, certainly a kid that I think will help us a lot. So it'll be great. Welcome to all the commitments, but certainly welcome to Trey as well. So glad to welcome him to a great recruiting class. Somebody should do rankings for the recruiting class. I'm sure it's pretty good.
You know, I know a lot of people will say they're high school guys. Can you win with high school guys at NAIA? I think it's all about your philosophy. It's all about getting the right high school guys. We've been playing a couple the first 2 games of the season, and like we talked about, Ezekiel and Zach, who had 8 points last night. They're high school guys that can play with the physicality, with the strength, with the movement, with the athleticism that they can play at this level. Because this level is a little bit different than Division I or Division II. And what I mean by that is that you will get some older guys. You'll get guys who may be 24. You'll get guys, you'll get a freshman, but you get guys who are 24. You look at that team we played last night, and there wasn't a freshman on the floor at any time.
Sure.
And while we were playing 2 freshmen. But I think that's going to go a long way in what we're trying to build here at Voorhees.
Going to be a great time, Coach. Before we get out of here, do we want to give any update on any roster changes, anybody banged up or dealing with any COVID protocol?
Well, we were glad to get Bryce, who we talked about back. Bryce, Malik, Terrell, those were 3 guys, and Zach. We got 4 guys who came back for their first game last night. So that was really big for us. But we had some COVID protocols that knocked 3 guys out for us. And that kind of hurt us. Obviously, like I said, we could have used their length, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". They were playing. I mean, that would have really helped us.
For sure.
There's no excuses. Number one, Coach Allen and Dalton State, they deserve to win the game, but definitely could have used those guys. And we're hopeful that, after tomorrow, that they'll be back with us Friday, and we'll go from there. It would be nice to have a fully loaded roster. I'll tell you that.
For sure, practice and a game.
Right.
A game. If you get your roster back in full Friday, this will be the first time that all those guys have been able to play together. Correct?
All those guys have been able to play together. Yes, sir.
So much to look forward to. As we close, Coach, if you have any closing thoughts or closing statement, we can do that here.
Hey, I really want everybody to stay safe. I know a lot of people are asking about fans, and we just want to make sure we get through the season right now. And because the numbers are surging, we're not allowing fans at our home games, and a lot of the places that we're going aren't as well. Like, I know Mondre came last night. I think there were 10 people in the stands. So
for sure,
there were only kind of certain people they let in. Mondre kind of got in because he's considered media a little bit too. So don't go.
I was about to say 10 people, including the announce crew, probably last night.
Right. So just bear with us. Obviously getting our home game streamed. You can watch them there. Most of the places we go on the road will have some ability to make sure that you're able to see the game as well. And as soon as you can get out and see us, we'll definitely let you know. And if you're involved with any of our guys at any point, family, whatever, just love them. We know they're away from you, mom, dad, family, and COVID is different. They don't get to interact as much as they want to with a full campus. It's not the traditional college life, but we'll get there. We'll get there soon. And I just want to thank the Voorhees community, the Voorhees family for support. All the text messages we got last night that I got when I got back to my phone, that was just happy about our effort, that wanted us to get a win, but they see what we're trying to do and what we can become. Begin, believe, become. That's the mantra of our school, and that's what we're doing on the basketball floor.
Awesome. That is our show for this week. Coach has to get on the practice floor here in a few minutes. So
you're right.
Coach, thanks for giving us the time again this week, and good luck not only with getting everybody back on the floor, but good luck tomorrow in the game.
No doubt. Make sure you check out that live stream, everyone. We play tomorrow, 8 p.m. Women play at 6.
No doubt. We'll be in a place to be. This is Voorhees Tiger Vision. We are out.